Welcome, everyone, to episode 105 of the Chris Parrish podcast. My name is Chris Parrish. Thank you so much for joining me here today. But first things first, let's get rid of all those introductions and let's give a big thanks to Turnbuckle Studios, the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program, and Beercade YEG. And that's right, if you wanted to go to any WWE PLE or AEW pay-per-view free showing in the Edmonton area, please go check out Beercade YEG, located on 10544 82nd Avenue. You can have an amazing time, play some amazing games, but also enjoy some amazing food and have some amazing memories when you go to Beercade YEG, the home of all your pay-per-view and PLE needs. And remember, they're free. It's a free showing. And guess what? Every time you go on the Saturdays, half off pizza. Pretty damn good. And yeah, if you want to go to turnbucklestudios.org, that's the homepage to Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. You can go and check out our mobile website. Well, all websites are mobile. That was dumb. But you can go check out our website. Not only can you go and get a little bit more affiliated with the individuals, but also with the program itself. All you have to do is hit turnbucklestudios.org/join, and you can fill out your application and seeing how you can join the team. We just had Survivor Series last night, everybody. John Cena's last PLE. What did we all think? It was pretty amazing. He defended the Intercontinental Championship against Dirty Dom Mysterio, and Dirty Dom Mysterio had everyone on his side, whether it was Raquel Rodriguez, whether it was Roxanne Perez, whether it was JD McDonough, whether it was Finn Balor, or even the returning Liv Morgan. That's right, Liv Morgan returned to WWE last night at Survivor Series, helping Dirty Dom Mysterio defeat John Cena as Mr. Dominic became a two-time Intercontinental Champion. What did everybody think of that? What were our opinions? What were our thoughts about Dirty Dom once again retaining the Intercontinental Championship? Let me know. First off, if you want to get involved in the comment section, just understand that if you're on the Instagram side of things, all your comments will not be shown on anything. In fact, that's its own separate chat. If you want to kind of have more of a group thread, then you got to be on all the other platforms. Just because StreamYard does not allow Instagram comments through. So just wanted to let you guys know that. But yeah, that's not all. Survivor Series, we saw Stephanie McGuire defeat Nikki Bella to retain her Women's World Championship, and we saw the team of Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, Io Sky, Alexa Bliss, and AJ Lee defeat the team of Becky Lynch, Nia Jax, Lash Legend, Kairi Sane, and Asuka. Let me know what your thoughts were on that match, but also what your thoughts were on AJ Lee tapping out Becky Lynch once again, and also your thoughts on Lash Legend in the WarGames match. Now, I was very intrigued with what we were going to see with Lash Legend. I was very intrigued with how they were going to use her and have kind of a plan if she was not going to get the win, how they were going to take her out. And what they did was have Asuka spew the mist in her face that kind of took her out of contention. But you kind of saw that as kind of the lead to the trash can spot from Io Sky, which she got in, but this time instead of a moonsault, it was more of a swanton off the cage. So, yeah, that kind of took out Lash Legend. So it wasn't exactly the best, but at the same time, it was enough to allow Becky Lynch and AJ Lee to have their moment to finalize the WarGames match there. We also saw the team of Big Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, Brock Lesnar, Logan Paul, and Drew McIntyre defeat Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Jamie, and Jey Uso in the men's War Games match, where we saw a mystery attacker super kick, curb stomp, CM Punk to help the Paul Heyman team win War Games. Let me know who you think that was. A lot of people said there's no way it can't be Seth Rollins, even though Seth Rollins does a super kick and a curb stomp. There's a lot of theories that it could be Austin Theory. So let me know what you think. Is it Austin Theory? Was it Seth Rollins coming back? Who knows? We'll find out more, but I'm curious to see what you guys think. We also have, we're going to preview Deadline next week. We know 3 matches so far. It's going to be a lot of fun. This episode's titled Finishing Strong. We're going to talk about what maybe WWE might do to finish off the year in 2025. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So but let me know what you thought of Survivor Series. If I'm going to rate it out of my my beautiful 6-pack of my 6-pack rating, I'll give it 3.75 beers out of a 6-pack, just because as much as I thought the Stephanie Vakir Nikki Bella match was good, like there wasn't anything negative about the match. It just wasn't a match I was invested on. Like the storyline did not seem to care. Obviously, it was Stephanie Vakir getting the win. That now puts Nikki Bella in the rear view. So what do we get moving forward? Do we get somebody from the Judgment Day? Do we get a Raquel, a Roxanne, a Liv Morgan now? What is kind of that next step for Stephanie Vakir? I am curious. I'm sure we'll find out more tomorrow on Raw, but at the same time, I'm very intrigued with kind of the next thing. But in terms of the match, it was what it was. Also, I'm kind of at the point now with War Games. Either you continue with the War Game concept at Survivor Series, but you have to do something with these matches. You have to make the matches mean something, put something on the line, have something of value added to this. Or else, if there's nothing there and there's just these forced group mentalities, I don't really care, and we might as well go back to the traditional elimination matches that we saw on SmackDown with the MFTs against Sami Zayn and Shinsuke and the Machine Guns and Rey Fenix. So if we're just going to have these matches for the sake of matches, let's not do the big cage. I get it. It's a selling point. I understand that. But if there's no value to what the match means, if the winning team doesn't get anything, if the losing team doesn't sacrifice something, then the match kind of loses its luster a little bit in my eyes, especially if it's just going to be forced the way it seems to be every year. And I'm just going to say this. The pattern of the last 4 years, the women's babyface team has won, so it's getting a little predictable as well. So we got to do something, or they got to do something to spice it up, or else I say let's try something new next year. But yeah, the men's match I did like a lot more than the women's match. But I think that has a lot to do with just the fact that I'm a little bit more invested in the individual storylines. Like outside of the women's, there was really the one major storyline, that's Becky Lynch and AJ Lee. There's not really a feud anymore between Charlotte and Alexa and the Kabuki Warriors. That's kind of died down a little, especially after the Kabuki Warriors won the tag team titles. There seemed to be more emphasis on Charlotte teaming up with Rhea than anything else, and that I thought took away from kind of that aura of kind of why I'm kind of there. Um, at least with the men's, you got the Vision going up with it, whether it's CM Punk, whether it's Jey Uso. You got all these different storylines. You got the history with Brock and Roman that maybe nobody wanted, but you do have Roman coming back. Does he want to face a champion? Does he want to get a championship back? Which one? So there's always that. But at the very least, you've had the Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed running roughshod on CM Punk and even Jey Uso, to the point where you also had Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre. That gets brought in. There's a little bit more volume in this match when it comes to storylines, so you can kind of get behind it a little bit more. It seemed like everything came together a little bit more organic in the men's. So there's that. However, I do think, again, the finish was a little predictable. We kind of knew that the heels were going to take the win here. We had a feeling something was going to come down. It wasn't going to be necessarily the cleanest win, unless it's Brock Lesnar destroying everyone, which I think we're happy that wasn't the case. But I think now we can focus on the fact that the Vision is still going to be a major group moving forward, and it's going to be interesting to see kind of how they shape. We saw in the post PLE conference that does the relationship with Logan Paul and Paul Heyman continue. That's to be continued. We have to wait and watch. So that'll be very intriguing if Logan Paul and Paul Heyman remain a connected pairing. So, yeah. We did see Braun Breaker get that pinfall on CM Punk to win the match. There are speculations that Braun Breaker versus CM Punk is an early candidate for being a WrestleMania 42 match. So that could very well be a potential there. So my best bet is Braun Breaker could be the guy who wins the 2026 Men's Royal Rumble. So if that's the case, that's how we get there. But it'll be very intriguing kind of to see. That definitely seems like where we go next with the world title, the men's world heavyweight championship with CM Punk. And I think with Cody, you definitely have any finalities with Drew. There's Roman Reigns right there. Do we see Randy Orton come back and get installed in that title picture as well? So I think that all is stuff to look forward to with the WWE Championship. So yeah, there is quite a lot that we can take away from Survivor Series, but if it wasn't for that Intercontinental Championship match, I don't know if I would have ranked Survivor Series 3.75 beers out of 6. Just I thought that Intercontinental match was really the match that helped make Survivor Series a lot more of a passable PLE this year. Because again, I don't think those WarGame matches did enough for me. Even though you can take a lot out of it, it was a little bit more dramatic with that Intercontinental Championship match. It felt like that big time match. When you had all of the interference, when you had Dom and John Cena recreating the spot that happened with Solo Sikoa and Penta, and kind of use that to kind of tease interference from Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. I think that was done absolutely amazing, and it just shows you just how deceitful Dominic Mysterio is and will go to in order just to win a match. So I think he's staying true to his character, his persona. So I like that. Also, shout out to John Cena because you put over 3 women and 3 men in that match. That's right. You put over JD McDonough, you put over Finn Balor, you put over Dominic Mysterio. While in the same night, you put over Roxanne Perez, Raquel Rodriguez, and Liv Morgan. In John Cena's last PLE, he put over 6 individual talents. If that's not a guy who you can consider a greatest of all time or one of the best to ever do it, I don't know what more you need, because there is no way John Cena needed to do as much as he did for as many talent, but the entire group of the Judgment Day got over in one night from one man. And it just so happened that Dominic Mysterio ended up winning an individual championship out of it, while we saw a return. And we saw a little bit of unity for the first time in a while with everyone in the Judgment Day. And let's not be blinded by the fact that unity mixed with Liv Morgan return were in hand here. I think Liv Morgan definitely is going to bring a lot more of the group mentality back to the Judgment Day, and that's something I'm looking forward to now with the Judgment Day. Now with that, it's time to kind of get through some of our promotional videos. So let's check out our Help Wanted ad and our Redbubble ad, and then we'll get to some of the comments.
The Turnbuckle Studios store is open for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the merch and represent the best from the shows you watch on a weekly basis. Multiple styles to choose from with over 10 products available. Don't get left out and pick up all your favorites today. Find us at carlcarafel.redbubble.com.
A Turnbuckle affiliation program is looking for more people. If you have passion level for pro wrestling, sports, videos games, or something else, then Turnbuckle Studios is the place to be. If you have ever wanted to pursue content creation and want to join our team, then we would love to have you. Check out turnbucklestudios.org or contact us by email today, because your future is now, and we want you to tap in.
Once again, if you want to contact Turnbuckle Studios to become a part of the team and a part of the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program, a great way to go to is turnbucklestudios.org/join. That is your best direct way to put it in an application and see where you can fit with the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program and with Turnbuckle Studios. And if you ever want to help support the Turnbuckle Studios and all of the platforms, all of the shows, the best way to do that is carlcarafel.redbubble.com, our mobile store that allows you to put the logos that you see here, whether it's the Chris Parrish Podcast, the Turnbuckle Studios, the TAP logo, or any other shows, on whatever you want, whether it's shirts, hats, phone cases, whatever you can think of. Redbubble has it, and carlcarafel.redbubble.com is the best way to support the Turnbuckle Studios. Turnbucklestudios.org is the best place to learn more about everyone as well. CBRS Chris Best coming in saying, "Howdy, Mr. Parrish. The only thing that annoyed me about last night was the ref not counting the first 3 count that Dom attempted after Raquel and Roxanne were ejected." I think too, at some point though, you have to look at the ref and say, I know what just happened. I know what you're doing. I know what you're attempting. I'm not going to disqualify you. I'm going to let this play out, but I'm not allowing this to be a factor in the finale of this match. I think there's a little bit of not treating the ref like an idiot here. And look, I just ejected 2 people. Don't think I'm just doing that for the sake of doing it. I'm doing it for a reason. That one. And that's because I'm not counting your 3, because I know what you're doing. I just don't have proof. Therefore, I can't fully disqualify you if I wanted to, but I'm also aware of the situation, and I'm letting this match play out in the real way, the right way. So, I think too, like the perfect explanation that really goes down to Wade Barrett and Michael Cole. If they're not doing their job of explaining everything and then just emotionally reacting to it, they're not doing this whole situation justice. But at the very same time, if they are, then it's a little bit more understandable to why Chad Patton wasn't counting that initial 3, because let's face it, you just don't. eject people because you want to. You're doing it for a reason, and it's usually because they just did something they're not supposed to. And Dom doesn't exactly have that leg to stand on and be like, well, what do you mean? I did this all by myself. Okay, then why did I have to eject these two people? So I think that was more Chad Patton just not catering to the shenanigans of Dom Mysterio there, and at least uplifting more the integrity of allowing this match to continue. Because he was knocked out for the Liv Morgan return and for that after or that kind of finish as well, where we saw Liv Morgan return, swing at Dom, run into John Cena, absolutely give us that beautiful spot and that rendition of how John Cena hugged Cody Rhodes, made the face. So did Liv Morgan. She changed her tone in that hug when her face was behind John Cena's. Jumped out of her arms, kicked him right into his basic thugonomics. 619, boom, title shot right there with the IC title, frog splash. Then all of a sudden Chad Patton comes in, which I liked that it wasn't insanely quick. It was a little slow. It made you kind of say, oh my God, is John Cena actually going to kick out? It's John Cena after all. I kind of loved the added drama that came to it. It's why I felt this match really upheld Survivor Series into a little bit more of a passing grade than just a regular one. Again, I thought it was easily the strongest match of the night for all those reasons. And once again, John Cena putting over 6 people in his last PLE match. And yeah, and also I want to talk about the Last Times Now tournament just a little bit because we do have our finale 4. We have LA Knight going up against Jey Uso on one semifinal match, and we have Solo Sikoa going up against Gunther on the other one. It's looking a lot like it's Gunther versus Jey or LA Knight. I don't think a lot of people have Solo Sikoa pegged to win this match. I think a lot of people probably have Jey Uso and Gunther, although I think there's a lot of pushback for that, wanting to see that match once again. And I can see LA Knight and Gunther having their first match against each other because the last time they did work, it was Walter, not Gunther, down in NXT. But I think it's a little bit more okay now to have not exactly the up and coming star winning this Last Time Now match because John Cena's last feud was putting Dominic Mysterio over. You saw that. He won the championship against him on Raw, became that Grand Slam champion. He did that against Dominic Mysterio. He gave him big time moments on the microphone. A couple times they had those times in the ring. They had the 6-man. They kind of built towards that. Dominic Mysterio had that spot where he made fun of John Cena with the little person on Raw. And then what we saw was just John Cena and Dominic Mysterio in 2 great matches over the Intercontinental Championship, where John Cena got 1 win and then Dominic Mysterio got the other win. And it was a beautiful way of making Dominic Mysterio just a bigger star in the making. I think John Cena put over multiple people in that match, but I thought he put Dominic Mysterio over in his last real feud. And yes, it was shorter than most, but it was a feud. And I think that allows him to kind of have a little bit more fun with whether it's him and Gunther, whether it's him and LA Knight, him and Jey Uso, or even him and Solo Sikoa. You can do that now, and it's not the worst thing. So I do like the fact that Dominic Mysterio being his last feud allows you to have a little bit more freedom to pick somebody maybe not so up and coming for the Last Time Now's tournament. However, I will say this, I just don't care about any of the 4 people in this tournament because I'd rather see Solo Sikoa do something with the MFTs. I'd rather see Gunther do something with a babyface and a title. I'd rather see LA Knight with a title. I'd rather see Jey Uso kind of scale back from a championship and do something more meaningful with like a feud or something like that. And less that during matches. If I have a pet peeve right now, it's Jey Uso running it back during matches. I don't like it. I understand it. People get into it at the show. It's just annoying. I'm okay if you stop it. So, I don't know. Kind of my little gripe too about that men's match was Jey Uso running it back. There's just a little bit of believability that I just don't buy. The single fact that Brock Lesnar's music hits while he's on the cage stopped it, and then things got back serious, fine. I like that. But part of me kind of wished Brock Lesnar just threw him to next year if he was in that cage. Like, I would have just liked that too. Because I think that part of me, that's why I think these war game matches aren't hitting. There's always a couple people in these matches that seem like they're not exactly taking it as serious as they should. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the chat, but I'm kind of done with Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso in war game matches. Probably forever. I'm not going to lie. But what you will see for the time, at least for this week, are the amazing shows that we do provide you. So if you want to check out what we like to call our calendar video, please check this out, and then we'll talk a little bit more NXT Deadline.
Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program bring you the week of streams. Monday nights you get the Locker Room Breakdown at 7 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Raw Patrol at 8 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday brings you the flagship show, Turnbuckle Talk, at 8:05 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday we play games with the PlayStation Showcase at 8 p.m. Eastern. Thursday we go TNA when we brace for Impact at 7:55 p.m. Eastern. Friday we secure all details as we answer the call for the SmackDown security detail at 8 p.m. Eastern. The weekend brings you Saturday Night Gaming at 8 p.m. Eastern. On Sundays be sure to catch the Chris Parrish podcast at 12:15 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Boar's Nest at 8 p.m. Eastern. Be part of the shows and join the chat every day.
And there you have it. That is the weekly calendar that we do provide you. So, yeah, enjoy all that content. And guess what? We will only add more if you want to join the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. So NXT Deadline is coming to you next Saturday, and let me tell you something, I cannot wait. Is it because, maybe, just maybe, there is a beautiful watch party coming next Saturday on December 6th with Deadline. Yeah, there is. Hosted by yours truly on all of my platforms. That's right. This is not a necessarily Turnbuckle Studio show. This is with the Chris Parrish podcast and all of my stuff. However, it is in association with Turnbuckle Studios. So come by. Let's enjoy NXT Deadline together next Saturday. And guess what? We got some amazing matches. Right now, there are only 3 that are official. So let's dive into those and let's check out what they are. And let's predict a little bit, shall we? So I think it's going to be absolutely fun. We have 2 Iron Survivor matches. We have the men's, we have the women's. But first off, we have the NXT Championship match here, and we have Ricky Saints defending his championship against the man that he took it from, Obafemi. And I strongly believe this match will help Ricky Saints be a little bit more definitive in his reign. I do think there is going to be probably some shenanigans in this match. I don't think it's going to be from either one of the competitors. I do think somebody might get involved. However, I do think Ricky Saints ultimately walks out still as champion. And then we look at Obafemi as somebody who then will, I don't want to say take some time away, but we'll start seeing those vignettes about maybe him potentially joining a Raw or SmackDown. Maybe he's in the Men's Royal Rumble in January. So can't say next month yet because technically it's still November and next month is December. But we know that the Royal Rumble is less than 60 days away. So that's very exciting. But I do have Ricky Saints keeping his championship. So I'm very intrigued with how that's going to happen because, again, I'm not the biggest supporter of his Tornado DDT as his finish. And I think he needs something a little bit more definitive to beat Obafemi for a second time. So I do think this is going to be a fun match. I'm very intrigued because I think Obafemi, he will beat the snot out of Ricky Saints. So I'm curious to see kind of how much he does. Chris Best coming in saying there are fans I've spoke to about Ricky Saints who feel his reign has fallen flat. But this match will give him that boost. I think it could. I honestly do think that no matter if he does win or this or not, I don't think he's going to hold that title on for that much longer. I really don't know if he's going to hold it all the way to a stand and deliver. But with that being said, I could also see Femi, if he is not heading to the main roster, regaining his championship. I think, honestly, I do think this match is completely down to whether or not Femi is moving on from NXT or not. If he's not, it makes more sense to have him win this championship back and have Ricky Saints chase once again. But if Femi is moving on, I mean, it makes all the sense in the world for Ricky Saints to beat him, look for that new competitor, and look for that new challenge. And there's just a lot of people you can do in NXT with that. And a lot of it can be within that Iron Survivor match. As we all know, John Cena selected the participants in this match. And guess what? It is kind of babyface heavy. We got Javon Evans. We have Leon Slater. We have Joe Hendry. And we have Miles Bourne on the babyface side with Dion Lennox of Darkseid as the only heel in this match. So what's very intriguing about this is most likely we're gonna get a babyface winning here. And yes, I am picking Joe Hendry to win this match because I do think we are going to see Joe Hendry get a little bit hot-shotted in NXT. Why? Because you got to strike when the iron is hot. Remember that I just said that phrase. So with that being said, it's just a matter of, okay, how does he win? And I think it really comes down to Dark State probably trying to help out Dion Lennox in this match. And it really will come down to Dion Lennox and Joe Hendry. Now, it'll be very intriguing because obviously Javon Evans and Leon Slater are going to add the high flying and the fast pace, and they're going to push the action in this match, as they should. They're the quicker of the group. But with Miles Bourne, we're going to see that beautiful mix between physicality, strength, and speed. And because of that, he is going to be, in my eyes, the biggest, I don't want to say question mark, but he is kind of that one guy that, if he can get that fortunate bounce, he'll capitalize on it. Kind of like when Trick Williams won it the year he won. he can be that just guy that if you overlook him, he will catch you. Um, but with that, also, he is somebody that needs that big win. I think the one thing that all these men can say is that they need that big win in NXT. So it'll be very intriguing to see who gets it. I do think right now the only one out of all of these who have been a world champion anywhere is Joe Hendry, obviously with the TNA championship. But is that going to be enough to get it? Because obviously whoever gets the most falls in this match ends up winning. So it might not be Joe Hendry. It could always be somebody quicker, like a Leon Slater, like a Javon Evans, or maybe just maybe Miles Bourne is that person that strikes. Um, and then we have the women's Iron Survivor match, and I think this one also very much goes a completely different way. We got Sol Ruka, Lola Vice, Kalani Jordan, Kendall Gray, and Jordan Grace. So we got the Evolve champion. We have the former TNA Knockouts champion in Kalani Jordan. We have Lola Vice, who's been doing a lot of stuff in AAA right now. We had the former double champion in Sol Ruka, who's both the women's speed and women's North American champion just over a couple weeks ago. And then we have Jordan Grace, who I believe will be the winner in this match. Why? Because I think she is the next person up. I do think she is the right person to dethrone JC Jane to become that next NXT Women's Champion. I like Jordan Grace as kind of that face of the women's division in NXT. I think it makes sense. I think it's her time now. And I think with her maybe getting 6 months strong as a champion, boom. Then by SummerSlam, we can think about bringing Jordan Grace up to a Raw or SmackDown. Because I do think that that's really kind of the trajectory for Jordan Grace's. Now, if we're talking about somebody who's like, oh, well, who's your maybe your dark horse to win this match? I'm thinking Sol Ruka. Why? Because she can hit that Soul Snatcher anywhere at any time. So because of that, that's almost a guaranteed strike for her to get that 1, 2, 3. However, I do like what they're doing with Kalani Jordan and Lola Vice a little bit here too. So I wouldn't be shocked to see Lola Vice get a little bit of, I want to say, an in-match kind of like rub in the good way. She might be one of the heavy hitters in terms of pinfalls here. Another person I'm very curious with is Kalani Jordan, just because she just did recently turn heel. She just recently had that attitude change. She just recently won the TNA Knockouts Championship and just lost it. So she has something to prove. I think with her being not only the first ever women's North American champion, now a Knockouts champion, she's looking to become the NXT Women's Champion. There's really a lot there for her to be motivated. So I'm very curious to see kind of how that fuels her in this Iron Survivor match. And then we got Kendall Gray, who, if you guys don't watch Evolve, you want to know a lot about her. Yes, she's kind of been appearing lately on NXT a little bit more, but Kendall Gray is a great newcomer to the NXT scene, and she has been absolutely impressive every single step that she's been taken. So I think we're going to all be very impressed with Kendall Gray in this match. You're going to love her, and it's going to be a fantastic showing. But I do think Jordan Grace, probably with five falls, wins this match. Yeah, I'm going to go with 5 with Joe Hendry. I think he needs only 4. I don't think you need a lot here. I think you're going to see 4. I think a lot of people are going to have 3, maybe 2. I think Dion Lennox has 3. Miles Bourne might have 3, and I'll give Javon Evans and Leon Slater 2 there. So as of right now, those are the only three matches for NXT Deadline. But I will also won't be surprised if they add Tatum Paxley versus Izzy Dane to this card. I actually think that makes more sense than an NXT women's title match or a North American title match. Um, but at the same time, I wouldn't be shocked if we see one, if not both, added. Um, I just, like I'm not too sure what you would do. Like, would you do a triple threat match for the NXT Women's Championship and kind of just save? Would you do Izzy Dane versus Tatum Paxley versus JC Jane? Maybe. Just do a triple threat match for that NXT Women's Championship, and that could be a good way of kind of hitting two birds with one stone here. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think NXT would do and add if they're adding one more match to Deadline. Again, they might even add two. Who's to say? But yeah, as we kind of gear up, I'm also going to let you know that the NXT Deadline, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's going to be at around 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So the watch party for the NXT Deadline, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, will be at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So yeah, come check that out. I am absolutely stoked, and I can't wait to see that. I just finished the video last night for it, so we're gonna have some fun. And guess what? I haven't really thought too much about if I'm gonna go solo or if I'm gonna bring some buddies in to watch it and to help. I'm not too sure yet. All that, you know what? As soon as you tune in, that's when you'll find out. Now, as we got the lounge coming in saying, "What's up, Chris Parrish? Thank you so much for joining." And lounge, you're one of those guys that if you want to come and check out Deadline too, and have some fun with us next week. But how are you doing? It's been a while. Always love that. If you guys want to support the lounge over on the Twitch side, please do that. That guy is such an amazing, not only human being, but a great streamer as well. Always has a fun stream, so go check out the lounge anytime you can on the Twitch side of things. So happy to see you, man. We just talked a little bit about Deadline, about Survivor Series. What were your thoughts about Survivor Series last night? What are your thoughts about the NXT Deadline PLE coming up next week? And then I'm going to talk about a little bit more about how I think WWE is going to close off 2025 as we are entering the last month of 2025. And I think Survivor Series gave us a little bit of an understanding. We're going to get CM Punk and Braun Breaker, kind of that as the kind of main course that kind of takes us through. I know we still have December 13th. That is Saturday night's main event. I do believe that's like the last kind of event for WWE on that main roster. So we're going to see a lot of NXT versus WWE on that show from what the sounds of it is. Obviously, with John Cena's last match, we'll find out who his last opponent will be. It's crazy to think in 2 weeks' time, John Cena will be officially over as an in-ring competitor. It's absolutely crazy. I cannot begin to imagine what a world without John Cena as a potential opponent for anyone would be. So it's crazy to think. The one thing I will say, I think we're going to see a little bit more tag team title attention, whether it's the women's tag titles or whether it's the world titles or the WWE tag team titles. I know on SmackDown we saw Uncle Howdy and the Wyatt Six kind of attack Solo. So like obviously I think we're going in that direction. Obviously we're seeing a little bit more of the MFTs kind of becoming more that number one group over on SmackDown. So I do think whether it's, Uncle Howdy, Bo Dallas, going up against Solo. I do think we're going to get perhaps a tag team title switch with the MFTs probably becoming tag team champions over on SmackDown. And then I do think we're going to see, obviously, we have the New Day getting that tag team championship opportunity against Dragon Lee and AJ Styles. I'm actually going to put the New Day as your next tag team champions. And the reasons why I say that is because I think this is going to be kind of that last shot to see if there's something there with the heel New Day group. Um, so I'm kind of intrigued there, and I do think we're going to have new women's tag team champions by the end of 2025. I don't know who. It could go back to Charlotte and Alexa, but I wouldn't be surprised if Io Sky and Rhea Ripley are your women's tag team champions heading in to 2026. And right now, who wouldn't want to see a fatal four-way women's tag team title match between Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair on one corner? We got Nia Jackson Lash Legend on the other. We got the Kabuki Warriors. And then right there, we got Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. And yes, we could always add in the Judgment Day, whatever pairing you want. Now that Liv Morgan is back, anything is off the table. I do think we're going to have Liv Morgan eventually go after Stephanie McCure for that women's world title. CBRS Entertainment coming in said, I'm going to go with Lash on Nia, as I'm basing that off Asuka accidentally missing Lash. Yeah, and I think that's exactly how they're introduced into the title picture and how they get themselves in this title match, and that Asuka did that on purpose or because she was threatened or something like that. Like, you can spin it whatever way, and I think that's what I love about the heels is, like, especially at somebody like Nia, they can spin it whatever way they want. And I think it just makes a lot of sense, to be quite honest. So, yeah, I mean, maybe we just see a Kabuki Warriors defend like everywhere. They just, 1 week on Monday they're defending against one team. They go to SmackDown, they're defending against another team. They go back to Raw, they have another defense, and it's just not sustainable eventually till they get to a team that defeats them. But I just have a feeling right now that the WarGames matches are at least leading to stuff. And I think we're going to see a lot of tag team action kind of finish off 2026. And then I have a feeling we're going to see Tommaso Ciampa and Ilya Dragunov for the U.S. title at some point. I do think that's eventually going to be the match. I know there's been some Tama Tonga kind of scenarios with Ilya. I do think we might get that match at some point. And I wouldn't be totally upset if the direction is to maybe add more championships in the MFTs. Do the tag with maybe JC Mateo and maybe maybe not Tama Tonga, but Tonga Loa maybe. Maybe JC Mateo and Tonga Loa. That could be your tag team. I don't know. I like Tala Tonga and JC Mateo a little bit more. If I'm going in that direction as a tag, Tama Tonga could be that United States. And then we can see kind of maybe Solo go after Cody a little bit. I don't know. Right now he has his hands full with Uncle Howdy because he got beat up. He got beat up after his big fat dub on SmackDown. So, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the day one event comes back. We know that obviously the 1 year anniversary of WWE on Netflix is going to be coming around right after the new year. So I think there's going to be probably some planning towards that as well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see WWE kind of do that, especially focus heavy on that on Raw. So yeah, I'm going to say 3 championships on Raw and SmackDown change hands before the end of the year. I'll say that. Maybe, yeah. Those are the betting odds. Under 3, over 3. Let me know what you think. I'm going to go with the women's tag. I'm going to go with both United States championships. Actually, I'll go with the men's United States and the women's Intercontinental. I think Maxine Dupree might no longer be Intercontinental champion by 2025 end. So yeah, that's kind of like where I think we're gonna go. I think we're just gonna get a lot of slow builds with the main feuds. We might get like Drew McIntyre might get reinstated on SmackDown. I do think that could happen, but right now it's tough to say because it looks like Braun Breaker, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes could be that direction that we see right now. But yeah. So yeah, with all that being said, that's kind of how I view kind of the next month and how WWE will finish off 2025. So yeah, this really needs a strong finish, as the show is properly called Finishing Strong, simply because there's momentum that you have to keep with this. Obviously, with John Cena's last match in just a couple weeks, you got to make sure that is by far one of your best delivered PLEs, because you got to do John Cena the justice, right? I think that's just the right thing to do. You got to send everybody home at least happy, entertained, but also in a way of exciting for the future. And I think that's why you're doing the NXT involvement. But also, let's keep these shows exciting and entertaining. As we all know, the lull periods with the pre-tapes and all that tend to kind of overflow December, and I don't think we want to see those predictable matches and stuff like that. So WWE, you got to finish strong, because the Royal Rumble is just right around the corner, and we know that is one of the most fun shows in the world. I know it's in Saudi Arabia, 2026. Nonetheless, we do want to see what's coming. We don't know who else is coming. We don't know if anybody's returning. We don't know if anybody's re-debuting. Things like that. It's going to be a fun time. But what we do know is I'll be back next week, and I'll be back with episode 106. Remember what I said earlier? Cutting while the iron's hot? Well, I'm properly calling this Iron Cuts Iron. That's right. If you want to know more about what I mean about that, you're going to have to tune in next week as we talk a little bit about just, we're obviously going to talk about John Cena's last time is now. We're going to know by next week who really is going to be the next and last opponent of John Cena. You might say, are you sure? Trust me, I have a feeling we'll know who's going to be that last opponent. But make sure you're checking us out then, because that will be 106. But right now, this is episode 105, Finishing Strong, the Chris Parrish podcast. I just want to let everybody know, thank you for your support. I appreciate everything of it. Thank you to the lounge for popping in. It's been a while. Obviously, thanks to CBRS Entertainment for always being in the chat. Thank you to everyone who helped support views. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff, whether it's on my socials, on that link tree, or even on Spotify. But more importantly, I want you all to be happy, be healthy, because at the end of the day,